Whew, man, I am tired. But it was cool. It was totally worth it. I had a great time at the farm market, my first one, and made lots of great connections with people, lots of great relationships, which was cool. I got to spend a lot of time just talking to people. It wasn't like a super big farmers market. They said it was about 1,000 people. So I got to actually like talk and converse, which was fantastic. And so I wanted to put this video together because there was a lot of chatter in my Facebook group about, keep people up there, keep me updated, and, let us know how it went. So I thought it'd be really cool to just follow that up with a video and talk about some of the stuff. Hopefully to get yourself started. I know there's a lot of people who are thinking about doing farmers markets in the Facebook group. So hopefully this will give you a little bit of direction and some insight and hopefully get you started. So let me get off my face here and we'll switch over. So this was my booth at the market. And like I said, not big. There was probably, I would say maybe 25 vendors, 25 vendors. And it was great because, when it comes to the community style stuff like farmers markets, if you can spend a little bit of time just talking with people and building the relationship, there's a much greater value for them and more of a reason for them to come back and like say hi and stuff, So it was really cool to spend some time doing that. Now, the number one thing that I learned about this market, I guess any market in general here, is bring a chair. I forgot to bring one. I was so busy packing up everything else, and I just totally didn't even think about it. And towards the end, when things were dying down and there weren't as many people who were out walking around, it would have been nice to be able to sit down and stay in the booth. I actually ended up flipping over this green thing and sitting on that for a little bit because my legs were starting to hurt, but a chair would have been nice. Now, that's not to say that you should sit down the whole time, because the majority of the time I was standing and talking to people and whatnot, and that's the way that it should be, but a chair is generally a good thing. The number two thing has to do with the presentation, and you can see how all of my trays are almost vertical. So when people are walking by, you want them to see what you have. You want them to be able to visualize. They see a sign, they see a product, and there's an instant connection. If all of these trays were laying flat, you wouldn't really see much necessarily. So that was really important, to get your product elevated up so that people walking by can see it. And it was cool because, I set everything up, and I had a couple people who commented that the trays looked like those living wall displays. And I didn't really think about it at first, but I looked and I'm like, yeah, I guess it kind of does. And it's a really cool effect. It's really valuable. The novelty of somebody, coming by and like you've just got walls of plants. You get the same effect from stacking too. If you've got like boxes and you're going to put trays up, or put packages up and stuff like that, that's always good too. You want people to be able to see your stuff, right? So that's super, super important. Now, the rest of it, I guess the rest of it, I really underestimated, and I'll be the first to admit that here. I was, pulling stuff together and, packaging things and making my checklist, which everything by the end went very well. There really wasn't much that I realized I forgot. Obviously, the chair. It would have been nice to have just some paper towel, because I realized, and it wasn't really a necessity either because I've got the trays on the tables, but just to clean things up, and my little OCD self, noticing little things. But all of the stuff on my list was pretty much everything I needed, and it was great. And now knowing for next week, when I go and redo that list, I wrote in a couple of things by hand for the stuff that I missed. But, knowing that was enough to be effective is really comforting. So have a list, all right? Have something you can reference to before and after Okay, because when you pack things up to go, you want to make sure you go home with the same stuff. All right, so so have a list of things that you need, and have a general idea of how you want to pack it. I maxed out the space in the truck with all of this stuff. So next week I will have to come up with another plan if I plan on bringing any more trays than I brought this week. But again, it went very well. So I was able to connect with, like I said, community, people in the community, great conversations, which is always key, and a lot of people verbally committed to coming back next week, which I thought was even cooler. They really appreciated. Oh, I forgot. So this was cool too. So if you can see right here in the middle of the table, this is what they really appreciated. This is my scale and my weighing bowl, and I was actually doing fresh harvest right there, and selling them that way. And it was a really cool conversation to have with people. And they're like, "Well, how long have these, been out of the soil?" And I'm like, about 7 minutes. And it was a really cool conversation to have with people where they really, really appreciated it. And all the vendors are cool. That was like the linchpin for this whole thing. So like the guy across the thing from me, he sells balsamic vinegar. So I'm going to buy some of his stuff next week. I already lined it up with him. And I'm going to do little samples with his stuff, and people can try it. And we're just going to, collaborate and do some cool stuff. So it was really fun. All right. And doing this on this scale, now I almost sold out of everything I brought, I shouldn't say that. I sold probably about 75% of what I brought. I brought 16 trays. I went home with 4 trays and a stack of packages, maybe 8 or 9 packages. So did really, did I guess fairly well for the very first one, and a lot of people, like I said, they said they were coming back next week, and we'll see what next week looks like. But it is a great experience. And if you are getting into, the homesteading and urban farming, microgreens and all that, grow your own stuff, this is a great way to get some of your products out there and start, generating some revenue. It's cool. It's a lot of fun. So I just wanted to give you guys some pointers. So like I said, bring a chair. Make sure you are adequately prepared. Don't be rushing around the day, a couple hours before like I was. Make sure you've got all your boxes ready to go. You've got your table set up. Set up your stuff ahead of time. All right, just do like a dry run in your front yard. And that's what I did, just so you can see how the tent looks and you can see what the tables are like, because you don't want any surprises, right? You don't want to get there and find out that your tent's broken, or that you have no idea how to set it up. It's even worse. And you want to be ready for those kinds of things, and you want to have your packed box ready to go. You don't want to be scrambling around trying to find stuff. So be prepared, and get ready to talk to people. Just have some fun with it. That's the biggest part, is just have some fun. Smile. I was giving away free samples. I was just cutting free samples off for people and just feeding them grass, and they loved it. So have some fun. Be innovative, and get out there and give it a shot. So hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, hit the subscribe button. Check out more videos I'll have coming here very soon in the coming weeks. If you are on Facebook, we also have a Facebook group, the Grow Your Own Vegetable Gardening Community on Facebook, so check that out there. And if you're interested in microgreens specifically, I'm working on the Microgreens Business Accelerator course, your MBA certification, so that you can grow microgreens, sell microgreens, and create a cool little side business out of it. So if you're interested in that, you can message me, comment below, and get in touch with me, and we'll make that a reality. So I appreciate you guys all watching, and hopefully I'll see you in another video.